Nihilism, the inference that there is no meaning at all. Friedrich Nietzsche in The Will to Power, 1967. Everything now seems meaningless or even absurd, especially in this materialistic, scientific, and reductionist ways of modern life. The idea that we are but conglomerates of atoms floating in this clump of rock called Earth in this dark, empty, and vast space. And so the modern person, or even postmodern person, has become dehumanized, indifferent, and simply accepting of all interpretations, or even destroying of all interpretations. Lines are now blurred, and there is no truth to what matters at all. And this is exactly what Nietzsche meant when he announced and predicted in the 19th century that God is dead. And in Nietzsche's Gay Science, he writes, using an old man as a mouthpiece, who traverses a crowded marketplace saying, I seek God, I seek God. And so people looked onwards to the old man, yet no one took him seriously. All those who witnessed this strange person merely scoffed at him. Frustrated, the madman then continued, maybe God took an ocean voyage, or maybe God even lost his way, like a little child. And maybe he's afraid of us non-believers, and is therefore hiding. And so the people of that time, however, still did not realize what was happening, and were simply amused. In an intense moment of exasperation, the old man then cried, God is dead, and we have killed him, you and I. But I have come too soon. And at this point, the old man realizes that he is way ahead of his time, that people had not realized what was to come. Because indeed, they didn't know that they had done and committed such a deed. As he had stated, this prodigious event is still on its way, and this apocalypse has not yet reached the ears of men. It is still wandering. Lightning and thunder require time. The light of the stars require time. Deeds, though done, still require time to be seen or heard, the old man said. And so people had yet to see they had killed God, and as this imminent realization loomed, the blood on their hands was still not seen. The observers of that time of the old man still did not realize the prediction of Nietzsche, did not understand the horror of what loomed and awaited them. And so the old man says, how shall we then comfort ourselves, the murderers of all murderers? What was holiest and mightiest of all the world has yet known has bled to death under our knives. God has bled to death. And so who will wipe this blood off of us? What water is there for us to clean ourselves? There's no water pure enough to remove this blood stain on our hands. Indeed, Russian novelist and existentialist Fyodor Dostoevsky commented on this loss of meaning as well through his rationalist character Ivan in the Brothers Karamazov, who says that indeed, if God is dead, then everything will be permitted. Nothing matters anymore. There is no basis for morality. One can do anything. One is free to do whatever, vice or virtue. And Jung does agree with this loss of meaning, this loss of soul of modern man, this death of God. And what is then Nietzsche's solution? Does Jung agree with it as well? For Nietzsche, the solution is to become the Übermensch. And there are many resources about this, but basically it is about becoming the Superman, which is basically the overman, the Übermensch, who transcends the chains of conventional morality and tries to paint one's own life according to his will through his desires and actualize it. To be free, therefore, from slave and herd morality and mentalities of most people, which he calls sheep, the herd. And for Nietzsche, this is the breaking of the chains, and is indeed the true meaning of becoming just beyond good and evil. And that if God is dead, we have this chance to do this. For Nietzsche, God is dead is terrible, because God dying is the cause for this nihilism. But at the same time, we now have the chance to reinvent ourselves, to live more powerfully and dangerously. And that's why for Nietzsche we must transcend it. And therefore he says what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Now this is where Nietzsche disagrees. No, 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 no. Jung says this is wrong. Indeed, there's a spiritual problem in mankind. God is dead, and actually there is this issue of modern man losing his soul, which is in fact one of the titles of Jung's works. But the solution should not be a conscious idea, a conscious will that you paint your own life with. According to Jung, it will break you. It is too much. You won't be able to take it. That is why Nietzsche went mad. It's too much. Man is limited. Jung says Nietzsche over-identified with this. And so his psyche broke down. And so Jung offers another solution. Because man is limited. And if man uses this conscious idea of intellect, the ego, of rationality, of thought, it will go wrong. It will break you. If you use this to orient how you live your life and fill this gap of meaning left by the death of God, your ideas will become an ideology no matter what, because the conscious self is limited. For Jung, the ego is the seat of conscious personality, but it's not just that. We are so much more. For Jung, if we create our meanings of our lives through our laws, our systems, may be good in the beginning, or maybe as a guideline for society, but to live your life for your purpose, it's too much. It's impossible. And that is why wars will break out if we do this. Our arrogance on our faculties of conscious reasoning will be our undoing. This has happened before, attempting to fill the gap of the death of God. And these ideas are basically communism, you see, Nazism. Because the self is so much more. And if we do not use this part of ourselves to know through this guidance, as mentioned, the wars of Vietnam will come out, Mao's China, Soviet Russia with its gulags, killings of multiple people, of starvation, and of course of Nazi Germany, which killed millions of Jews, and not just Jews, but a lot of people as well. Tens of millions, of hundreds of millions of people had died, using the conscious seat of personality to find what to do, to figure out what to do. And it's not going to work. Jung, having lived through 2 world wars, knew this and he observed this. And that's why he wanted to solve this problem. And the solution for him is to use the greater parts of ourselves beyond the conscious mind. Exactly. And that is why one must turn to the wiser parts of ourselves that are not actually conscious in nature. And for him, this is in fact Jung's unconscious. The human psyche, for him, is predominantly the unconscious. In the conscious self, the ego is only such a little part of man's whole psyche. The unconscious is vast and deep, and not just a reservoir of patterns, images, and symbols of mankind, but that all of humanity share this collective unconscious, also known as the collective psyche, the objective psyche, or the objective unconscious or subconscious. For him, it is beyond the conscious that lies the solution for modern man's loss of meaning. Because there has been an abundance and extreme focus on the conscious, rational, or intellectual side of man. But we need to look into the depths of our unconscious, non-consciously. It is there that we will find the answer to our questions. Because ourselves are not just our conscious selves. The totality of who we are in our psyche is beyond it. The whole, along with the psyches of everyone else in the world, is not just the conscious mind. And so this problem of modern man losing his soul can be solved by looking into our unconscious, beyond our conscious selves, through our dreams, through our intuitions, through the symbols and mythologies of humankind. These are the clues and symbols that we give guidance to through our own selves beneath us, to our conscious selves. And through these legends, myths, and intuitions of the collective psyche, it is these guidances that bring something beyond this. And this might even be said to be God, or the Tao of many other religions, or the divine way, basically. And while this may be difficult for intellectuals to accept, indeed, this is Jung's position. And to accept that rationality has a limit, simply by acknowledging this rationality having a limit is indeed the first step. And one might even say these unconscious signals may be corrupted, like how religion was corrupted before, the Crusades, and so on. And that is correct. The unconscious signals can be corrupted if we interpret it corruptedly. What must be said, however, is that these unconscious guides are always correct, always moral, always giving us clues to what is best for our own individual purposes, ways, and paths. It can only be corrupted through our own interpretations when our minds are cluttered, and so on. And so, how do we start then? How do we begin to do this? Well, we can start with ourselves, to listen to ourselves with humility and heart and guidance. And so, by changing ourselves, the world will be a better place. And this is exactly what Rumi said, that yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. But today I am wise, so I am changing, well, myself. And so, by doing this, we know that the answers come from within. And the thing is, no other person can find your answer except you. And that is why this is the way that is very difficult. You cannot just follow an ideology. You must find it within you, through your totality, through your own psyche. And this is why the Sufi said that there are as many ways or paths as there are hearts of men. Because indeed, your own path is different from everyone else's path. And your path's answer, your purpose in life to fill this gap, void, can only be answered by yourself. Properly, through dreams, intuitions, mythologies, and symbols. This is very, very important. And to end this, I give a quote from Carl Jung from the Red Book. As he says, there is only one way, and that is your way. There is only one salvation, and that is your salvation. Why are you looking for help? Do you believe help will come from outside? What is to come will be created in you and from you. Hence, look into yourself. Do not compare. Do not measure. No other way is like yours. All other ways deceive and tempt you. You must fulfill the way that is in you. Thanks for watching.